Okay, we're holding in your book on page 51. Page 51. It's a beautiful sikha. It's a very nice sikha. It's not a complicated issue. It's a very nice issue. And that's a beautiful teaching of the Rebbe on the concept of gratitude. And as you're going to soon see, how the Rebbe wanted the aspect of a Jew to be have gratitude, to thank God for whatever happens in life, and to always to realize that that we are to be thankful. You know, we're called Yehudim because it comes from the word hoidah, means it means which means to acknowledge, to hoidul Hashem. I acknowledge God. I praise God. I realize the good that God has done. In every kind of situation, like I said before, everybody has good. Depends what you want to praise. You know, you want to praise the bad, you want to praise the good. Depends what you want to accentuate, what you want to bring out. You can bring, if you want to talk about bad about somebody else, you can find bad in everybody, and you can bring out the bad of everybody. If you want to do it the other way, then you can praise everybody. Now, everything has its rules, as I said before. If a person's Torah says, when it comes to a murderer, you're not allowed to praise him because it's not the right place for it. It's not the right situation. So every situation is different. But in general, a person should look for the good in people. Always judge everybody to the good. Right? But in general, judge everybody to the good. That's the general rule. And there's exceptions, 100%. No argument. Okay, let's learn a law in the Torah. This is Parsha. It's a very complicated law. I don't want you to get lost in the two psukim over here. It's not the point, the law per se, to understand the law. It's a very difficult law to comprehend. And what we actually read in today's Chitas, it's not a very easy law to understand. You have to learn the Gemara, really. You got to go to the Talmud and the Rambam. Maimonides will give you the details of this law because it's not a simple law. Let's go to the law, page 51, text number 1. The Torah says, the Torah is talking about consecrating one's land. It's today's Chitas, the consecration of one's land. And the Torah expresses itself in two kinds of ways that a person can consecrate his land. Okay? That means in one way, a person that says, I am taking the land, this land that God has given me, right? Or I inherited, or I bought. And there's also the difference between inherited land, bought land. It's, as I said, it's complicated law. But in general, the law is if I consecrate my land, I can redeem the land, right? I consecrated to the temple. I gave it to the nation. I donated my house to the temple, to the synagogue, to the temple. We're talking about to the temple. I donated the land to the temple. I can redeem it. I have a certain time limit that I can redeem it. Redeem the land. I donated the land to the temple, and now I want to take it back. So I go to the temple, I go to the treasurer of the temple, and he'll evaluate whatever, the different kinds of valuations. Okay, and that's where it gets a little complicated. The different kind of valuations of the way to evaluate this land, and it's a Torah law. You don't go to the market's value. We're not going to the market value of what this land would sell. The Torah gives a valuation. Okay, and it's not important again. These details. You look at the pasuk concerning this class. If a person consecrates some of his field to their their inheritance, property to God, gave it to the Bet Hamikdash, the valuation shall be according to its sowings. An area that requires a chaymer is a value of barley seeds at 50 silver shekel. So if I'm coming, or somebody's coming to get the land, they hear the temple let's say maybe the Beis Hamikdash made an announcement. They have all this land. They don't need the land. They're selling the land, or they're selling the land. They need money for the Beis Hamikdash. So they're going to sell the land. So the Torah gives you how the Kohen sell the land, how he appropriated the land, and it's basically 50 shekel to a chaymer. A chaymer is a certain amount, and a certain acre of land was given 50 shekel. If you had 20 acres, so that you evaluate 50 shekel per acre. Whatever. That's the way you evaluate the land. And in the year of Jubilee, it goes back to the Kohen, etc. It's a very complicated law. You need to go to the law, not over here. This is going to be this is not the part of the class. That's one way of consecrating your land. Then there's an interesting verse in Leviticus. Torah continues in your text number 51. Okay, it says, and this is a couple of verses after the previous verse. It says an interesting expression to the verse. Kol chedem. However, anything that a person declares chedem to God, mikol asheloi, from anything of his property, whether it's a person, whether it's an animal, whether it's a field, shall not be sold. If a person says something is chedem, and we'll soon see what that means. It's an interesting word. Chedem. Have you ever heard the word chedem? Lahachlim, right? Put him in a chedem. So chedem is usually what we know is a negative word. Chedem means to be discommunicated, excommunication. So if somebody excommunicates his land, I don't know the right word in English, or part shall not be sold, nor shall be redeemed, for all chedem is holy of holies to God. That's the law. That's the pasuk. So the pasuk says, I can either say I'm going to give this to the temple as a donation. If I say chedem Hashem, I don't want this land. Give it away. Leave me alone. I don't need this. I'd rather give it to the temple than keep this. That's chedem. That's the law over here. That's why it's a hard word. That's chedem. Chedem means I throw you out. I threw the land out. Yeah, right. To put him a chedem. Again, it's an interesting word. The Torah could have used other words over here. The Torah uses the word chedem. So where do we find the word chedem in other places? Look in text number 3 in pasuk. This is another way of using the word chedem. So the Torah says, "Psili and burn the statues of their idols in fire." The Torah is talking about when you come to the land of Israel, you have to take all pagan statues. You got to destroy them. Do not convert to silver and gold upon them. And take it for yourself. Not only you to destroy them, but even if they had gold and silver, they were made out of gold and silver, you can't just take the gold and silver and use it. You have to destroy it. At least you stumble because of it. For it's an abomination before your God. And the Torah continues, verse 26. Do not bring abomination to your house. It should be kamayu. It should become chedem like it. It should become like the idol, which is chedem. Shall be utterly revile. Shakit sikaseh. Revile, it's abhor. I mean, in essence, you should abhor it. Why? Because it's chedem. So in essence, chedem means something that is despicable. That's what chedem is. Chedem is something that I think is despicable. I think this table is despicable. I call it chedem. That's what, again, I don't know what the word chedem means exactly. So the David Kimchi, the Radak says anything that a person declares chedem to God, even though the item itself is not destroyed, vis-a-vis the owner it as if it's destroyed. So in essence, what's a chedem? Not that the land is chedem. To the person, it's chedem. Right? Kol chedem Hashem. The pasuk says anything that is chedem belongs to God. So it means that why is it chedem? Not that it's chedem, that the thing is chedem. That the thing is despicable. The thing is not, it might not be despicable. But it's despicable to the person. So to the person, it's like it's destroyed. So now you understand why the Torah says, if something is despicable to me, and I say, I don't want this, so now it's like it's not yours anymore. It doesn't belong to you anymore. You basically disavowed yourself. You basically walked away from the thing. So it's a difference between I consecrate something or I even sell something where I can always redeem it in a certain time period. But when it comes to I say something is a cheder, I don't want it. To me, it's like gone. To me, it's such an ugly thing that it says, I don't want anything from it. Then it doesn't belong to me. For no longer benefit from it. Therefore, the Torah says, if something is chayim to you, it doesn't. That's right. So it becomes out of your possession forever. You can't redeem it. You can't come back and say, I want it. So look at what?
It's different for different people, whatever you think is.
Whatever especially I say.
Does it belong to anybody?
God.
It belongs to God. Goes to the Beis HaMikdash. Comes part of the Beis HaMikdash property. Comes part of the temple's property. So look how the Chinuch explains this concept. Text number 5. As long as the Jewish people are devoted to God's Torah mitzvahs, only good will come to them and will be supported by an abundance of blessings and generous and pure spirit. The opposite, curses and destruction, will befall their enemies. Therefore, if somebody is in a fit of melancholy, utters an expression of curses or chedim about their money or their land, which are really blessed, the Torah informs us that one cannot really remove an item from the domain of blessing to another cursed domain. It belongs to God. It might be cursed to you, but it's not cursed to God. Right? That's what it says. Kol chedem. What does the verse say? Kol chedem lahavaya. Anything that you call cursed is to God. For everything that belongs to a Jew really belongs to God, who is blessed. Nevertheless, because we now know that this person really wants to remove this item from their possession, we'll give them what they wish for and return the item to its true owner. Who's the true owner? God. And they'll become truly holy. And then it'll become holy. Kol chedem lahavaya. Anything that you throw out is holy to God. If you
Could you
cannot
give an example, Rabbi? I'm not catching all this. Could you give an example?
You'll soon see. So if you cannot see the good in it, God sees the good in it. Yeah, I can give you a million examples. So anything that I say is disgusting might be disgusting to me, but it's not disgusting to the Eibishter. It's not disgusting to God.
Your garbage is.
My garbage is somebody else's gold. So that's the way. Let's continue a little bit more, and then we'll maybe answer your question. So look how he elaborates this. The next thing, it's beautiful to comprehend this, because really, the lesson to this is truly a beautiful lesson. So look how Rabbi Yisrael Gutman, he tries to elaborate on it. In my humble opinion, the concept of chedem is as follows. In truth, one who declares their property, chedem, when talking about property, any possession that he has, completes a chedem, does not intend to donate it to the priest nor to the temple treasurer. Rather, he simply declared the chedem cursed. If he wanted to give it to the Beis Hamikdash, he would donate it to the Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash, you don't have to donate to the Beis Hamikdash only things that you like. You might donate to the Beis Hamikdash, like you have today, your used car, give it to the temple. You think that the temple would like to have a new car better? But you can give a used car. So I know the Jew that's saying this thing is chayim, he doesn't want to give it to this Beis Hamikdash. He really saying get thrown out of the garbage. It's a chayim. It's a disgusting thing. Why would I donate a disgusting thing to the temple? Rather, they simply declared chayim cursed. All the pursuant laws of chayim are only when to fix the curse. That's the point. Not that I'm donating something. I'm saying, oh, to the temple, I'm sorry, I'm donating you a cheap car. That's all I have. Is a shmata. That's all I can give you is this jalopy. That's all I got. No, here it says it's cursed. This is a disgrace. I wouldn't want to give it to the temple.
Rabbi.
Nothing is cursed. Right? So the pasuk says, Kol chayrim la'avaya. Nothing is cursed. Everything, if you're going to call it cursed, the Eibishter will show you. The Eibishter knows what the value of everything. Yeah.
A car is a material thing, but this
Talking
doesn't
material
just, no.
Yeah, he
Land is-
needed land. We're talking about material things.
Well,
The pasuk is talking about material things. The pasuk is not talking about spiritual things.
no, I'm not spiritual, but animals, land.
Cold. Animals. Look at the verse. Anything.
Anything?
The verse is talking about material things. The verse is talking about material things, not talking about spiritual things. How can I donate?
No, not spiritual. But what about a person? You know, sometimes
Even a
in
person.
anger.
It says.
Even is a material
person.
thing? Yeah.
Verse text number 2. Anything that a person declares chayim to God for any of his or her property, whether a person or an animal or a part of his inherited fields, shall not be sold. Look at anything.
Okay.
So everything. For surely a person, chas v'shalom, that a person should say, I'm chayim, I have no value. I'm a worthless person.
Okay.
Yeah, but don't they put people in cherem, and how is that related to this?
No, that's a different concept. Indeed, the Mishnah, that's not the pasuk over here. Indeed, the Mishnah does not say the owner gives it to the kohen. Rather, it says the property is given to the kohen. This guy, the owner doesn't want to give it to the kohen. Why would the owner want to give to the kohen something that is worthless to him? Rather, it says it's given to the kohen. How is it given to the Eibishter gives it to the kohen? Yankel threw out something. He said it's worthless for me. So God says, give it to the kohen. Not because I want the kohen to have garbage, because it's Chayil Hashem, because it's worth to God. Implying that it was not the owner's intention, but rather the Torah's way of handling chayim. It does not say that the field is given to the kohen like a truma, implying that it was given to the kohen like other rights of priesthood. Rather, giving it to the kohen simply is simply the protocol for chayim fields. The Sefer Chinuch writes explicitly, as we said, that chayim is a curse the owner pronounces on their property. Therefore, it becomes forbidden for the owner to derive any benefit. If you can call something cursed, then you have given up your rights to it. Not only the rights that it belongs to you, rights of any benefit from it. You can't even give it to the Kohen anymore. You can't even get the enjoyment of giving it to the Kohen. It's not yours. You have disvalued yourself in it. You have cursed it. You have said this is nothing, no value to you. David says, fine. Nothing. Don't have anything to do with it. Fine. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm giving it to the Kohen. The Kohen represents me. I'm giving it to him. Not because you gave it to him, I'm giving it to him. It becomes back to mine, right? You gave it back to me. I'm giving it to the Kohen.
Sometimes they used to do cherem on people and that was.
That's a separate issue. That's a different concept.
Right, very terrible.
Yeah. Therefore, it becomes forbidden for the owner to derive benefit from it. We obey the owner's wishes. We say, the Abish says, fine. For you, it's cursed, fine. But God says, I fix the curse by giving it to the Kohen. I don't think it's cursed. I think it's okay. I think it's blessed. Therefore, once the chedim fields of a Kohen is in the Kohen's possession, it becomes permitted for anyone, even for the original owner, to benefit from it. Now it becomes the Kohen. Now, actually, the law ultimately is that once it comes to Kohen's possession, it never goes back to the Jew. But the Jew can have part of it. He can have fruits from it. He can enjoy it. The Kohen can invite him, and he can enjoy the field, even though he made a chedim, because it's not his anymore. It's basically not his anymore. It's out of his possession. He threw it out of his possession. It became somebody else's possession, which is a beautiful concept. It's a beautiful law. And it teaches us the concept, really, it truly teaches us the concept of being grateful.
Let it go.
No, be grateful. Give it as a
go.
donation. Give it as a donation. There's nothing wrong.
Let it go.
Give something, there's a value. It might then be value to you. It's value to somebody else. It's surely a creation by God, and there's surely a value to it. And therefore, it teaches us what means to be grateful into everything that God has given us. Even if we look at it as not totally a perfect product to us, to me, I cannot use this anymore. Fine, understandable, but it's not junk. It's not garbage. It's not chedim. It's not a curse. Give it to somebody else. Give it to the temple. Give it to a kohen. Give it to a friend. Give it to a poor man.
And we're still talking about only material things, right?
Yeah, for surely a person.
Like, let's say you have struggles in life. God gave you those. We're not talking about that. We're talking about possessions.
Yeah, no, we're talking about that too. We're talking about that too. To say if a person is cursed, God forbid. As you soon see a beautiful Delilah from the Rebbe. You might have struggles. True. I have sickness. I have issues. But to say you're cursed, chas v'shalom. That's ingrateful.
So could you just summarize this? Because I'm not.
We're gonna
following
go.
this.
Wait, we're not at the end to summarize. So let us wait.
I mean, up until now, I'm
see a letter
lost.
from the Rebbe. So until now, we learned that the Torah tells us what chedim is, and why the Torah differentiates between somebody who gives a donation to the temple and somebody that says, "I don't want this product," and that ultimately that land is given to the temple anyway. There's a great difference. And there's a great difference ultimately in all aspects. Because when somebody gives a donation to the temple, ultimately, it goes a positive or negative this. Because if you know the law, and I don't want to get involved, but if I donate a land to the temple, then after a certain amount of time, I cannot redeem the land. And the land will become not my land anymore. It'll become a Kohen's piece of land if I donated it to the temple. After the year of Jubilee, it's going to return to the Kohen. It won't return back to me. And I can't have any pleasure from this land anymore. But if I give a chedim, if I throw out the piece of land and say, I'm not interested in this piece of land, then it becomes part of the Kohen's right now. And right now, I can have pleasure from the land in essence. Right now, I can have from the land because it becomes somebody else's land at this present moment. Look at the Rebbe brings down a very famous story of King Chizkiyahu, and we should realize the importance of being grateful. King Chizkiyahu, he lived before the destruction of the first temple, so I'm not exactly BCE. There were a lot of struggles in those days. It was Sancherev, the Syrian king, who ultimately took over. The Gemara says that the Eibishter wanted to make Chizkiyahu Mashiach. He was at that preface. He was at that situation. He also that the Chizkiyahu would be the Messiah and end the whole situation. And if he wasn't, but he blew it. If he was, he blew it. This great king blew it. And even though he had unbelievable situations that the Gemara, the Talmud says what he accomplished, and you can look it up in the Gemara, you can look it up in the prophets, talks about the greatness of this King Chizkiyahu, what he accomplished. He ultimately blew. And what did he blow it? What did he blow it by? So the Gemara says as follows. There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, text number 7. The Gemara says as follows, based on a verse. So this verse is brought on in Isaiah. It says, "L'sarvam hamishra v'l'shalom en kates." Now, if you look at the Hebrew, you see the verse, the l'sarvam. You look at the Hebrew. You know Hebrew. You look at the Hebrew words. It's something peculiar in that letters. Hello, you're teaching Aleph base. The second letter, the sarvam. The letter is written with a final mem.
Yeah. You don't see.
Yeah, the letter is written with a final mem. If you look in your book, text number 7. So the second letter is a final mem, and it doesn't make sense to write a final mem in the middle of a word. So it's the same sound of the letter. It's mem, but it's a final mem.
It's the first time.
So the he who increases lemarbe, God's authority, and for him there shall be peace without end. That's the verse. Now Tamchun said in Tzipori, Barkava expounded this verse as follows. Why is that very letter mem that appears in the middle of the word is an open mem, but the mem in lemarbe is closed in that verse? Why is it? And he said as follows. The closed mem indicates that God wanted to make Chizkiyahu Mashiach. And he sought to make Sancherev Goy Magog. Sancherev was the king who was the Syrian king at that time. However, and he destroyed Sancherev in a way, right? Because that was the whole story. However, the divine attribute of justice said to God, Master of the universe, if David, king of Israel, who recited numerous songs and praises before you, you did not make him Mashiach, then Chizkiyahu, for whom you perform all these miracles, and yet did not sing any songs of gratitude before you, you will really make him the Messiah. And that's why it's that mem is closed. Right? The mem is closed. So something was closed. There's a final mem because the word says to he who increases. He increased a lot of things, Cheskio. He was missing one thing. Gratitude. So King Cheskio did great things, and he beat Sancherev ultimately. The Abish destroyed Sancherev for Cheskio. Not perfect. Great, unbelievable, but not perfect. And what is missing? What was missing? One thing. So we should realize this, that one thing was missing by this great leader, Cheskio. I'm not starting up with Cheskio, Melech. He was a great tzaddik on his own right. He was missing, in essence, the Gemara says, he was missing what's in Hebrew called Hakarat Hatov.
It's hard to blame. It's hard to solve.
I know that's why the Gemara says that's not me. That's what I'm saying. The Gemara. I'm not judging Cheskio. Trust me. So there's two things that is missing there's two things in Hakarat Hatov. In what means recognizing good. There's really two things in recognizing good. Number one is, first of all, simply recognizing good. That a Jew recognizes good. And number two is that he recognizes God in the good. It's not just recognizing, oh, this is a great machine. This is a great day. He recognizes the Eibishter in the great day. Right? Because if not, it returns to, that's the pasuk. If not, it returns to who does recognize it's good. Right? If I say it's lousy, if I say this day was a lousy day, so the day with the energy of the day returns to the one who made this day. If I say this day is a great day, and it's a great day because God made this day, then I accomplish both. I accomplish both. And where we see that, we see this concept. Where do we see Hakarat Hatov in this concept? We see that in creation. How do we know that God wanted that in creation? Two things. First of all, we should look at the good. We should see the good in the world. The crazy world that you live in, see the good. Number two, we should see the godliness in it. That it's good because God created this goodness. Right? So we see that in creation. In the beginning, go back to Genesis 8:1. Your text number 8:1, Genesis chapter 2, verse 5. It says, now no tree in the field had yet on the earth. God created the trees on the third day, but there was no trees on the earth because God had not yet brought rain upon the earth. So in essence, God created the capability of trees, but there was no trees on the earth. They were like underneath the ground. Why? Because it didn't rain. And there was no person to work the soil. So what is the meaning of that? God created everything in the world. It was there. Seemingly trees were there, but not there. All the vegetation, the beautiful world that we have, it was like a desert in essence. Even though the trees and the grass and everything was there already, it was under the surface, so to say. Why? Because it didn't rain, number one, and there was not human. The humans were not there. So that means ultimately, even though trees and grass were created earlier, when did the trees and grass come out? On the sixth day of creation. So Rashi says, because number one, look, text number 8b, Rashi explains the verse, simple Rashi, because God had not yet brought rain. Why did God not bring rain? Why couldn't he make it rain? If that was the whole thing, he could have made it rain. Because there was no person to work the soil. What does that mean? And no one to recognize the benefit from rain. Hakarat hatov. The Eibishter needed a human being to say, wow, how beautiful rain is. Why? Because look at this beautiful world that rain does. Look at these beautiful trees. Look at beautiful grass. Look at this beautiful world. But when the human came and understood that rain was essential to the world, and he prayed for it, and it fell, and the trees and the herds sprouted. So that's how Rashi learns the beginning of the book of Genesis. That the Eibishter was waiting for the beauty of this world, that a person should come and say how beautiful it is. How gorgeous this world is, that we need rain. Give us rain, make this world beautiful.
How did he know that?
What?
How did he know that rain was making?
I don't know. That's a good question. And there's many answers to that question. It's a very good question. And the answer
Could you
is
repeat the question?
because how did Adam know that? How did Adam know? He came into the world. How did he know that there was supposed to be trees? How did he know that there's supposed to be?
How did he know that rain would have that effect?
So Adam and Chava were not simple people. They were very, very spiritual, intellectual people. They understood how things worked. They understood, even according to God, they understood how the world works. But they were born that way, not by us. They were born with great knowledge.
Oh, professors. Professor Adam.
Look at the next medrash, powerful medrash. What? I'm sorry.
It
No, ask the question. What's the problem?
became that Adam had an enlightenment that he knew.
Yeah.
But then when Eve took the forbidden fruit, she was supposed to be totally enlightened and the eyes open.
It's a different kind of enlightenment. It's a different kind of concepts. Adam called all the animals by its name. How did he know? He understood the DNA of animals. He understood the essence of animals. That's how he gave animals all their names. The situation of the tree of knowledge is a concept of bringing sin into their existence. They also understood that. There's an outer concept, there's an inner concept. They brought it into the inner. That was their choice. That was their first choice.
There was no difference between good and evil, you say.
There was a great difference. There was actually a great separation between good and evil. They brought it together. Adam and Eve wanted to bring good and evil together. It should be a mixture of good and evil. That means, and ultimately, that we live in a world that everything good has within it evil, and everything evil, thank God, has something good. And that's really the story.
So that's a concept of free choice.
Correct. So that was their choice. That was their choice to bring free choice into the existence. You understand? So they did a terrible sin. They did a terrible sin, or affecting humanity. But ultimately, they did an ultimate act of what changed humanity. Understand? In a positive way, in a way. That's why they were not punished. God says you're going to die. They didn't die for another 930 years.
But then why else would you be?
Right. Because now you're into the world. You wanted a world. The Eibishter wanted a world where there'd be Gan Eden in this world. It would be separate. You'll have like two different worlds. But they wanted the intermingling of the worlds. So they wanted the concept of, so God said, okay, go out of the world. You have to go to the world where you're going to have to bring light into the world. You're going to have to bring good into it. I wanted you to live in a good world and separate from the world that would be separate from the opposite of good. Now you want a world that needs to be good and evil. And that's why we live in a world of good and evil. And ultimately, we live in times where we think good as evil and evil as good. And we struggle with that. What is good and what's evil? But that's a different subject. But everything, it's not a contradiction. It actually fits in very, very clear exactly what they wanted to accomplish.
The living in a perfect will get the serpent is bringing in temptation.
Correct. We are, because by God it's perfect. By God it's perfect. By God there's no such thing as imperfect. That's the beauty of this class. By God, there's no imperfect. Even the imperfect is perfect.
So,
By a human being, he struggles with imperfection. And therefore, as the Rebbe is going to soon say, you need to accentuate the perfection. You cannot keep on talking about the imperfection. Because trust me, the more you're going to talk about imperfection, the more it's going to become imperfect. You got to stop talking about imperfections. That is the lesson of this class. You'll soon see a letter from the Rebbe. You got to stop saying things are cursed. Got to stop it. Even if they are in your eyes. Stop it. Give it to the base of English. Give it to somebody else. Fine. It's not a problem donating things that you don't like. But to curse things, that is a terminology that's not correct. That's where you're separating yourself from God. So that's where the pasuk says, it's beautiful third type. That's where the pasuk says, to you it's nothing, it belongs to God. To God it's everything. Don't do that. Don't curse something. Because then you're separating between yourself and God. So to you it's a chedim, it's a disgusting thing. To God it's a beautiful thing. Donate it. Maybe one day you'll realize that it was a good thing and you'll come and redeem it. Yeah, you could. In certain times, you could. Yes, you could. There are certain time value. You could redeem it.
one quick question.
Yes.
Why would you redeem something that you cast?
Because again, I suddenly gave a donation. Then I realized you know what? I would like to have the piece of land. I had an epiphany. I realized that usually when you don't have something, that's when you realize how important it is. So that's correct till it's gone. So I donated this piece of land. I thought it had no value. And then I suddenly see this land is flourishing. It's not bad. You know what? The Abish says you can redeem it. There is a certain time value. You can redeem it. If you don't redeem it, you'll ultimately lose it. But if you have a time, redeem it. Redeem it. Right? But at least you did not curse it. Most people give a donation. Some people give a donation because they want to give a donation. They want to give good land to some people because they don't want the land, whatever. like they advertise, donate your used car, right? Instead of getting $1,000, they go give it to a synagogue that can sell it for more, maybe. So get your receipt and let the synagogue have the money. So, but you wouldn't donate it if it was a new car. Like I said, nobody's donating new cars. But that's not bad. Thank God. You use it. You see, you don't have it doesn't look to you like it's important. The new one would be better. So give it to the donation. To junk it, why would you junk it? So it's important, as the Rebbe is going to tell you, it's important. The pasuk wants to tell you, don't disgrace something. Don't write it off. Everything has value. And the more you talk about its value, then its disgrace. Maybe you'll never disgrace something. Maybe you'll never. Right? Okay. Yeah, I understand. No, that's not good either. That's not healthy either. Okay, look at the Rebbe. Look, let's read the Medrash. Then we'll read a letter from the Rebbe. It's a beautiful letter. So the Rebbe. So first of all, the Medrash said, look at the powerful statement of the Medrash. Why does the Torah punish an ingrate so excessively? Kfui toiv. Because an ingrate is like a heresy. A heretic is also essentially ungrateful. Let's read this letter of the Rebbe. I want you to read this letter. It's a beautiful letter, powerful letter. By the grace of God, 4th of Shat, 5,716. So a long time ago, this letter. But before I was born. This is 1915, 55, 56. Rebbe writes, greetings and blessings. Doesn't tell you the name over here, self-understood. In response to your letter, in the month of Kislev, you need to write about your current situation and how your entire life you have never experienced anything good. and then you ask for a blessing for your wife and children. Apparently, you don't notice the contradiction in your own letter. For someone who the creator of the world arranged a match and a blessing them with children, may they live a long life in many years, to say that you never experienced anything good in life is ingratitude to a shocking degree. There are hundreds of thousands of people who would pray every day for the blessing with children and would give away everything their own for a single son or daughter and still have not merited to receive this blessing. May God answer their prayers soon. And you, who did receive this blessing, apparently without having to pray for it excessively, do not recognize the wealth and happiness that they're in. And write in your letter what you have mentioned above. And moreover, you conclude that you don't believe that God will ever help you. For you believe it's decreed upon you to be poor and miserable your entire life. Obviously, I don't mean that one has to be poor or unhealthy, etc. I just want to draw your attention to the fact that maybe the meager income and the poor health stems from the fact that you do not recognize God's blessings. In an area even more important than perfect health and comfortable income, which is a blessing of having a son and daughter who follow the ways of God. When one doesn't recognize the blessings they already have, especially when they ignore them to the degree that they express it in the harsh expression you used in your letter, why is it so shocking that they don't receive additional blessings from above? Whoa! That's a shocking letter. I hope these few lines will suffice to open your eyes and see the situation for what it is. When you begin to serve God with true internal joy, God's blessing regarding health and income will certainly increase, as is to be understood from many sources of the Zohar, with blessings and the Rebbe's. So the Rebbe writes, another point, which is also no less important, is that which explained in the Holy Torah, which is that the number of blessing one receives is dependent to a certain degree on how the person receives them. Acting in a consonance with the recognition of God's kindness increases the flow of blessings and the capacity to receive them both near and long future. And then they look at text number 12. And this goes even more. When a Jew is careful with their speech, the Rebbe writes, when they do not allow any expression that is opposite of blessing to exit their mouths, then they experience only good and abundance. Wow. You gotta stop talking negative. You have to stop saying things are bad. Gotta start doing that. You gotta say things are good. Talk about the good. Talk about the good. And you'll see it'll become good. You gotta stop talking negative. You're surrounding yourself with negative, and everything is negative, and everything is bad, and the Eibishter hates me, and God's out to get me. So I know some people are going to say, oh, but what if those don't have enough children? There's so much other good things that the Eibishter has given you. So don't pick, the Rebbe wrote this letter to the person that has children. There's so much other good things that you can talk about. Sure, there's bad things. Start only talking good. Stop talking negative about yourself, about others, about the world, about Israel, etc. Why? because then you don't have a kodesh atayv. Then I don't have a kodesh atayv. I'm basically ingrateful. We see that in our davening every day. First, we praise God. We thank God for everything. And then we say to God, we need some extra. We need to have health. We need to have wealth. But first, we thank the Eibishter. First, we thank God. Baruch Hashem, we're alive. We can walk. We can talk. We can breathe. These are unbelievable gifts that God gives each and every one of us. Baruch Hashem. And then we say, we need a health. We need some more parnasa. We need some more money. But how do we start today? We're thanking God. We're not ungrateful. Even though we need more things, we need to have more health, we need more wealth, we need more happiness, but we're not ungrateful. We thank the Eibishter for all the good that he's given us. And that's the pasuk. In essence, the pasuk, we're ingrateful, then it's chedem. We're giving away our existence. Giving away to God. We are ungrateful. I'm ungrateful. Yeah, it's a beautiful concept. If we can live up to that concept. To not talk negative about ourselves, not talk negative about somebody else, not talk negative about the world. To be grateful. Why? Because Baruch Hashem. There's a lot of good the Eibishter gave in the world. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, I'm alive. Is that an unbelievable gift that God gave me in the world that I'm alive? So what am I going to complain about? And if I'm truly grateful that God gave me life, so everything else is workable. If I'm not alive, then nothing's workable. Then it's over. But if I'm alive, everything else we'll figure out. We'll have a day to figure it out. If I didn't figure it out today, I'll figure it out tomorrow. But Baruch Hashem, I'm alive. And the importance, as the Rebbe says, is to say it in speech. Say it. That's why the next story is important. We learned the story many times with the Baal Shem Tov. I'm sure you heard the story. The Baal Shem Tov, right, in the early years before he went public in his teachings, and disciples came from far and wide to learn from him. The Baal Shem Tov traveled. One day, the Baal Shem Tov arrived at a village. He made his way to the study hall. There in the corner, he sat an ancient Torah scholar over his books, wrapped in his talis and tefillin. This was a village Parsha. He was like separated from everybody, who led a life of holy seclusion. Sunrise to sunset, not a morsel of bread or sip of water would pass his lips. He spoke to no one and never lifted his eyes from the sacred tomes. For more than 50 years, he had kept this regimen, ultimately, utterly removed from the mundane cares of material life. So why was this strange pestering him? This stranger, the Baal Shem Tov, said, how are you? Kept on nudging him. How are things? He was inquiring. Is there enough to eat? Is everybody healthy? This ascetic made no reply, hoping the stranger, the Baal Shem Tov, would go away. But the stranger only leaned closer, and his questioning grew more intense. Impatiently, the guy waved him away, pointing to the door. Rabbi, the stranger will now ask, why are you denying God of his livelihood? The Baal Shem Tov turned to him and said, why are you denying God of his livelihood? The words of the Baal Shem Tov hit him, right? The old man was aroused. God's livelihood? The audacity of this English word, peasant. What are you saying? He demanded in a thunderous word. How dare you disturb me with such blasphemous babble? So only what King David, the sweet singer of Israel, proclaimed in the Psalms, replied the Baal Shem Tov. I'm not bothering you. I'm telling you what King David said. Tell me, Rabbi, what is the meaning of the verse? And you, the Holy One who dwells by the praises of Israel. We mortal things, continued Baal Shem Tov, when the Parish made no reply, subsist on the sustenance that God provides us in His great kindness. But what does God subside in? Subsistent on the praises of Israel. When one Jew asks another, "How are you?" and his fellow responds by praising and thanking the Almighty, thank God, they are nourishing, so to say, God. Deepening his involvement in creation. That's HaKadosh HaTev, thank God. So when somebody asks you, "How are you?" you don't start telling him about all your headaches and all your foot aches and all your stomach aches. Thank God. With the headaches and with the foot aches and with the stomach aches. Thank God. Thank God. Baruch Hashem. I'm alive. I'm alive to be able to complain about the foot and the stomach and the headaches and no money, etc., etc. Thank God I'm alive. Could it be better? That's an expression by Chassidim. If good is good, is better not better? Yeah, always can be better. We can have better health. We can have better wealth. We can have more nachas. We can have a lot of better things. But thank God. Thank God that I'm alive. That I have some health. I have some capabilities still in life. What am I complaining about? And that's why, how do we start off davening? Haidul Hashem ki tov. I give thanks to God. Kil olam chasdei. He's good. His kindness is everlasting.
As the song goes, you have to latch onto the affirmative and eliminate the negative.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And that's what we learn. So that's an important thing. Not that we're denying that there's tzaddis and there's problems. How do we Jews get up every day? I say, Haidul Hashem ki tov, when things are happening, we see what's happening in the world. Right? So what do we say? No. Because Haidul Hashem ki tov. Baruch Hashem. We're here. We can fight for ourselves. We can stick up for ourselves. We can do the right thing. Haidul Hashem ki tov. Haidul Hashem ki tov. We can fail. We can pick ourselves up. Haidul Hashem ki tov. There's unbelievable kindness in the world. Is it perfect? No. Mashiach comes, it'll be perfect. And yeah, that's the reality. Until Mashiach comes, it's not perfect. It's okay. Okay. Therefore, it's over. Therefore, it's a disaster. It's Chedel Hashem. It's over. It's it. Life is over. No, life's not over. Life's not over. Baruch Hashem. The Rebbe would always say, you learn from Rabbi Akiva, who lost 24,000 students, I mentioned on Shabbos. What did he do? He started again. That's it. You start again. You're alive. You're alive. You start again. And he did start again. And he started with 5 students. Rebuilt the whole situation again. Was he sad? I'm sure he was extremely sad. Who wouldn't be sad if a plague in less than a couple of weeks brings about the passing of 24,000 people? That must have been a tragic situation. Not only for him as their teacher, but Masabi to the Jewish people that were in the land of Israel. Masabi was the greatest tragedy that happened in a very short period of time. But it brought an end to Yiddishkeit. It brought an end to life. It brought an end to existence. No. We're sad, but we thank God we're alive.
Even in the bleakest moment, there's always a form of.
There's a lot to be thankful for. There's a lot to be thankful for. No, I'm serious. It's true. You know, we want to compare October 7th to the Holocaust. The Holocaust, the Jews had no power. They had no power. God, if it wasn't for God, Chas Shalom, I mean, the Jewish people would have been wiped off the map because they were powerless. Baruch Hashem today, Abishter gave us a land. He gave us a God. He gave us an army. He gave us power. We can fight for ourselves. It's not 1940. Then they killed 6 million, and we killed nobody. Killed a couple. Today we flattened out Gaza. So it's not the same. Baruch Hashem. I mean, is it good? No. We need to come to. We need a victory. We need to come to them. But to say it's over, it's finished. That's it. Let's pack our bags. No, we have to be thankful to God. We have to be thankful to what the situation we are in, the situation we're going to continue to accomplish, and amid Shem to bring this to bring this situation to a positive conclusion. We have to be thankful.
But at the same time, why are there all the problems?
Because Mashiach's not here. So we're going to have problems until Mashiach comes. That's it. But the world is not, the Jewish world is not perfect, and the world at large is not perfect. You can see openly that the world is not perfect. If today in the world we're condemning good over evil, and we think that evil is good and good is evil, you have a big problem in the world. So the world is mixed up. And sad. It's really sad part of the world. That the world really doesn't care about really what's good and what's evil.
Isn't it
And it's just a sad situation. Till today, you would think that today people in the world realize what's good and what's evil and fight for good. No. The world is not thinking about that. Right? Although whatever the reason is, not important reason. By me, the outcome is important. We need to get rid of evil. The world needs to come together and get rid of evil. And the world doesn't want to say that. But we need to get rid of evil. These kind of people need to be eradicated and need to be got rid of because they're evil. That's it. And that has to be done. Sure, we want everybody to do tshuva and everybody repent and everybody to become good. But the point is, until then, the evil needs to be taken out of the world. It's a sad thing for this situation to take evil away from the world, especially the evil is humans. And that's a very sad situation. That humans can be so evil and you have to get rid of them. And it's sad. And who has to do that? The Jews have to do that. And the Jews have to do that while the world is condemning the Jews of doing that. It's unbelievable that the world has a chutzpah to condemn the Jews getting rid of evil. When the world does that, and they do that, and they are allowed to get rid of evil, but Jews are not allowed to get rid of evil. But it's such a contradiction. But you know what? We have to not listen to the negative of the world. And we have to keep the message positive, and we have to keep the message on focus, and just disconnect ourselves from the negative messages of what you listen to on the radio or on TV, wherever you listen to it. So let's end this off, as the Gemara ends off in text number 15. Even though the wine belongs to its owner, gratitude is given to the one who pours it. So even though you say you poured me a cup of wine, why should I thank you? Why should I thank the person when I come to the person's house? It's all the food is from God. You thank the host. You thank the woman of the house that made the food. Have gratitude. We need to all have gratitude in life. It's a beautiful sikh of the Rebbe. We should all learn the concept of gratitude, not only as a concept, but start simply to start talking about the good things in life. Think about the bad things in life and talk about the good things in life. Instead of the other way, that we always talk about the bad things in life, or things are bad, and things are bad, and things are bad, and it's terrible, terrible, terrible. Think about the bad things and start talking only about the good things in life. And have a kodesh hatov. Because when you talk, in essence, thinking about good is not the parnasa of God. Saying good, that's what the Baal Shem Tov said. Thinking about good is not God's parnasa, God's livelihood. Saying Baruch Hashem. When somebody says to you, how are you? Baruch Hashem, thank God. That's the parnasa. That is the livelihood of God. God bless you all, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Wish you all a wonderful day.
Thank you.
And Mitch, we will. I'm gonna actually be next Thursday in California. See if I can do the class. If it's 10 o'clock I can do the class next Thursday. I'll do
When
it
Shavua?
Will you
Oh,
be
2
here on
weeks,
Sunday?
2 weeks.
Sunday. No, I'm going to be